P9 with another vlog, and I am here in the small town of Crawford, Mississippi. And Crawford is a small town of 600 residents, a little over 600 residents, and it's in the small town, or in the county of Lowndes County. So I'm right here at this historical marker of a native, Big Joe Williams, hometown hero here. And Big Joe Williams epitomized the life and times of the rambunctious, roving bluesman, traveling from coast to coast and around the world, playing rugged rhythmic blues on his 9-string guitar at juke joints, house parties, and concerts. Mentor to blues legends Muddy Waters and Honey Boy Edwards, Williams was born near Crawford, where he also spent his final years. His song "Baby Please Don't Go" has been recorded by many blues and rock bands. So Big Joe Williams may have come from a small town, but he left a huge legacy. And here's more about the hometown legend Joe Lee Big Joe Williams. He was born about 10 miles west of Crawford on the edge of the Noxubee Swamp on October 16, 1903, or according to some documents, 1899. Williams came from a family of blues performers that included his grandfather Bert Logan and uncles Bert and Russ Logan. He crafted his first instrument, a 1-string guitar, and later became known for the 9-string guitar he created by adding 3 strings to a standard guitar. Joe left home in his teens and made his living playing for workers at railway, turpentine, levee, and logging camps, and traveling with minstrel troops and medicine shows. He came under the influence of Charlie Patton in the Mississippi Delta, where he sometimes took young bluesman Honey Boy Edwards and Muddy Waters on the road with him. He became a staple on the vibrant blues scenes in St. Louis in the 1930s and later relocated to Chicago, though he never ceased traveling. So his signature song was recorded in 1935. It's called "Baby Please Don't Go," which was later covered by dozens of artists, including Muddy Waters, Van Morrison with the band Them, and Bob Dylan, who played harmonica on a big show session in 1962. Joe sometimes gave his wife, blues singer Bessie Mae Smith, credit for writing the tune, which was much like the traditional work song "Another Man Done Gone." Many of Williams' 1930s and 40s recordings for the Bluebird and Columbia labels featured harmonica great John Lee Sonny Boy Williamson. When the trends in African-American music shifted to electric blues and rhythm and blues after World War II, many traditional bluesmen were left behind. But the indefatigable, I don't know if I pronounced that right, Williams managed to keep recording singles for labels such as Trumpet, based in Jackson, Mississippi. So, in short, he performed widely at a multitude of houses, nightclubs, and festivals. And he passed away in Macon, Mississippi on December 17th, 1982, and was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame 10 years later in 1992. And here are some images of Big Joe Williams. As you can see right there, early recordings 1935 to 1941. These are some of the images. This is the best I can get because of these plants right here. But yeah, Big Joe Williams, he recorded the first of his several versions of a song called 12-string, or excuse me, Whistling Pines. And he advertised his 12-string guitar here, but corrected that to 9-string on other releases. So he grew up in Crawford, and he took a fellow bluesman by the name of Mr. Shortstuff Macon north to tour, resulting in his album on the Spivey label. So this is Joe Lee Big Joe Williams, and he's famous for recording the song "Whistling Pines" on his 12-string guitar. And later on, and again, once he brought it down to 9 strings, he corrected it to 9-string on the records. So shout out to Big Joe Williams. As this historical marker, by the way, is right here at this playground which sits right outside of Crawford City Hall. So as you would expect, the City Hall is real small. There it is right there. And I also wanted to make mention of another hometown hero. You guys probably know him. He's the legendary Hall of Fame wide receiver, Jerry Rice, who played a long career with the San Francisco 49ers, won multiple Super Bowls with them, and also played for the Raiders and the Seahawks in the latter part of his career. But his heyday was with the San Francisco 49ers, where he had quarterbacks Steve Young and Joe Montana. So Jerry Rice was raised here in Crawford. You know, his father worked as a bricklayer, and that's where Jerry Rice developed his work ethic. He actually worked with his father laying bricks, and his father would oftentimes, while Jerry Rice was on the scaffold, he would toss Jerry Rice some bricks, and Jerry Rice would catch them with such great precision. That's how he developed his hand-eye coordination, and ultimately it led him to obviously a Hall of Fame career in the NFL. What's interesting about Jerry Rice, he attended Mississippi Valley State University, which is in the Mississippi Delta. And this is the Crawford Community Park, by the way, right over here by City Hall. But yeah, he attended Mississippi Valley, and which is a HBCU in the Mississippi Delta. And he wasn't really a highly touted scout or, you know, prospect in the NFL, excuse me, like, you know, coming into the NFL. He wasn't even the first wide receiver selected in the draft in 1985, because due to in large part because he went to a HBCU in a total, it wasn't a Division I school, so because he didn't get that D1 exposure, he ended up you know, he wasn't really highly touted. However, he was on some scouts' radar, you know, and ultimately he wound up getting drafted into the NFL, and the rest is history, becoming one of the, if not the greatest wide receivers of all time. You know, that's definitely an arguable debate. You know, generally some people like to ask the question, who's the best wide receiver of all time? They'll throw Randy Moss, Terrell Owens in the conversation. You know, definitely a lot of Jerry Rice, Randy Moss debates, but nevertheless, Jerry Rice, he grew up in the small town of Crawford. And another, he's not the only major athlete to come out of Crawford. You also had, you know, my 90s babies remember Clarence Weatherspoon, who played in the NBA. You know, he was primarily a role player in the NBA, but he hails from Crawford, Mississippi. He was born in Crawford, but raised and went to high school in Columbus, Mississippi. So that pretty much sums up the natives of Crawford, Mississippi. So we'll take a ride through the town, and that'll be the vlog, so stay tuned. About to ride through the small town of Crawford, Mississippi, a town of 600. And as you can see right here on the left, you got the post office, real small post office. Let me get a close-up look to it. That's the post office, a very small post office. That thing is tiny. Then we're driving through downtown. This is how small the town is. This is the downtown right here in a nutshell. This is it right here. An old abandoned building right there on the right. You have a Tina kitchen right there on the left. Army surplus building on the left. Yeah, that's in a nutshell, that's Crawford, Mississippi. Got the railroad tracks right here. And there's like a grain company building right there. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Crawford was named after a Baptist minister named Peter Crawford, who lived in the area during the 1840s. And when the town was platted in 1852, it was named Crawfordsville. This name was used until 1870, when it was shortened to Crawfordville. And finally in 1879, it was changed to Crawford, and it has remained as such since then. And the railroad track we just crossed was the railroad tracks where the Mobile and Ohio Railroad ran, and it started in 1857. So in a nutshell, that was Crawford, Mississippi. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and also like the video. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace.